Four guys thought they'd get away with robbing an old woman until her dog stepped in and a shocking truth from the past stopped them in their tracks. In the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, lined with towering oak trees and cozy homes, Eleanor takes her daily afternoon walk. A retired black nurse and widow in her late 60s, Eleanor is accompanied by her loyal Rottweiler, Duke. Each step they take is a testament to her resilience and the routines that shape her golden years. On this particular day, Eleanor wears a simple locket and bracelet, last gifts from her late husband. These items are not just accessories but are imbued with deep personal significance, representing her enduring love and the memories of a shared life that still guides her. As they stroll, the tranquility of their path contrasts sharply with the bustling city just miles away. Eleanor enjoys these moments, finding peace in the rhythmic sound of Duke's paws against the sidewalk and the occasional greetings from familiar faces in her community. However, today's walk will be different. As Eleanor adjusts her sun hat and Duke sniffs the autumn air, a sense of unease begins to settle over the serene landscape. There's a subtle shift in the atmosphere as a slow-moving truck rolls into view, disrupting the peaceful routine. The truck and its occupants are out of place in this quiet part, hinting at the impending conflict that will test Eleanor's strength and resolve. This walk, a daily ritual, is about to turn into a confrontation that will draw on every ounce of Eleanor's past experience and her deep well of personal strength. Unknown to Eleanor, the events of this afternoon will not only challenge her safety and peace but will also ripple through her community, awakening a fierce spirit that has lain dormant. The serene afternoon is pierced by the intrusive rumble of an old truck that rolls slowly behind Eleanor and Duke. As they continue their walk, the vehicle doesn't pass but instead creeps along, a brooding presence at their heels. The air thickens with tension when the truck finally halts, and four men climb out, their intentions unclear but their demeanors unmistakably menacing. Eleanor's hand tightens on Duke's leash as the largest of the men calls out to her. "Nice dog you've got there, and nice necklace too," he remarks, a sneer evident in his voice. The comments are not compliments but provocations, and Duke senses this immediately. His protective instincts rise to the fore, his deep growls slicing through the quiet suburbia like a warning siren. The men edge closer, their steps deliberate and confident. "Why don't you let us take a closer look at that jewelry?" another taunts, stretching out his words with a chilling casualness. The threat is thinly veiled, the air charged with the potential for violence. Eleanor feels her heart rate pick up, but her voice remains steady. "I think it's best if you keep your distance." Yet the men are not deterred. As they step closer, Duke's growls escalate into fierce barks. Each bark is a clear message, and it reverberates off the suburban homes, a call to arms against those who dare to threaten his companion. Amidst the mounting danger, Eleanor's resolve hardens. She knows that giving in to fear is not an option. "We are not intimidated," she states boldly, meeting the gaze of the man who seems to be the leader. Her hands are steady, her posture defiant, bolstered by Duke's unyielding readiness by her side. The men, momentarily taken aback by Eleanor's unwavering stance, regroup with smirks that don't quite reach their eyes. They advance again, now with a clear determination to intimidate. "Old lady, just hand over the stuff and no one gets hurt," the leader sneers, stepping dangerously close. But Duke is ready, his body tensed like a coiled spring, his every muscle prepared to defend. Eleanor feels the silent promise of protection emanating from her loyal friend, and it gives her the courage to stand tall. "It's a good day to walk away," she warns them with a clarity that is bolstered by the sight of her formidable ally. The moment freezes as the gang leader extends his hand towards Eleanor, aiming to snatch the locket from her neck. As his hand inches closer, Eleanor's eyes catch a glimpse of a distinct scar streaking across his wrist, a stark reminder of a past encounter. Recognition dawns on her. Her breath catches in her throat. This was no stranger. Years ago, as a dedicated nurse, she attended to this very man, stitching that wound after a violent brawl that could have cost him his life. The leader falters under her intense gaze, confusion clouding his features. The memory of that night at the hospital flashes before him, the pain and the compassionate eyes of the nurse who had saved him, Eleanor. His movement pauses mid-air, a sudden hesitance replacing his earlier aggression. This moment of hesitation sends a ripple of uncertainty through his companions, sensing their leader's sudden turmoil. "Jason," Eleanor says, her voice cutting through the tension. I stitched that scar. I saved your life that night you almost bled out in the ER. Her words hang heavy in the air, laden with the weight of unspoken history. The other men look from Eleanor to Jason, their expressions a mix of bewilderment and doubt. Jason's eyes meet Eleanor's, and in them she sees a flicker of the boy who once lay vulnerable on her operating table. You owe me your life, Eleanor continues, her tone soft yet firm, and now this is how you repay me. By threatening me in my own neighborhood. Her question strikes a chord in Jason, the guilt manifesting visibly on his face. His hand instinctively pulls back, as if the locket he intended to steal burns his skin. The gang, confused and leaderless in the wake of this revelation, exchanges uneasy glances. The cohesion breaks as they grapple with the situation, their resolve shaken by the sudden, emotional quake that has hit their leader. Eleanor's gaze does not waver, her stance bold and commanding, empowered by the knowledge of her unexpected connection with the man before her. As the standoff continues, Eleanor's words reverberate down the quiet street, her confrontation with the past reaching into the heart of the gang leader, reminding him of a debt that was never repaid. The climax peaks with emotional intensity, reshaping the conflict from a mere physical threat to a profound moral reckoning. The street, once filled with tension, begins to shift as Jason, the gang leader, grapples visibly with his past and present. Back off, he murmurs, his voice barely audible over the growling of Duke, Eleanor's loyal Rottweiler. The men, caught off guard by their leader's sudden change of heart, falter. Confusion spreads like wildfire through their ranks, with whispers of dissent filling the air. What are you saying, Jay? We just gonna let this go? One of the gang members challenges, his voice tinged with betrayal. Jason, still locked in Eleanor's knowing gaze, finds his resolve crumbling. We're leaving, he declares more firmly, turning his back on Eleanor, the scar on his wrist a glaring reminder of a debt he couldn't repay with theft and violence. The group splits, two members shake their heads and walk away, their faith in their leader shattered. The others linger, their feet rooted to the spot, torn between loyalty and confusion. As the gang members argue among themselves, a neighbor, peering out from behind slightly parted curtains, dials 911. The description of the unfolding drama prompts an immediate response. Within minutes, the sound of sirens pierces the stillness of the suburban street, red and blue lights washing over the scene like waves crashing onto a shore. Eleanor, standing firm with Duke by her side, watches as police cars roll in, officers stepping out with authoritative ease. The remaining gang members, those who had hesitated, now find themselves caught in the glare of law enforcement. Police. Hands where we can see them, an officer commands, stepping forward confidently. As the officers move in, handcuffs ready, one of the lingering gang members, a young man with nervous eyes, makes a sudden dash. Duke's ears perk up, and in a flash, he's after the escapee. With a powerful leap, Duke brings him down, holding him just as the officers catch up. The young man yells, a mix of fear and frustration in his voice, as Duke's growl holds him more effectively than any restraint. The police quickly gain control, handcuffing the captured gang members. The street, once a scene of potential violence, turns into a tableau of justice being served. Eleanor watches, her heart still pounding, but her confidence unshaken, as the officers commend her and Duke for their bravery. The intervention not only disperses the gang but marks a turning point for the neighborhood. As the gang members are led away, the sense of community strengthens, with neighbors coming out of their homes, expressions of relief and gratitude directed towards Eleanor and the swift-acting police. In the solitude of a police holding cell, Jason, the gang leader, sits engulfed in the shadows cast by the dim overhead light. His thoughts whirl in tumultuous waves as he contemplates the day's events and Eleanor's enduring impact on his life. Memories of that night years ago, when Eleanor, as a nurse, stitched his wounds and whispered words of encouragement, replay in his mind. He grips the cold metal bench, the reality of his moral descent crashing down around him. She saved me then, and she spared me now, he mutters to himself, a sense of gratitude mingling with his regret. Meanwhile, Eleanor stands in her quiet living room, the soft glow of the lamp illuminating her thoughtful expression. She reflects on the day, her heart heavy yet hopeful. Every action we take leaves a mark on this world, she says softly to Duke, who sits attentively by her side. Her encounter with Jason reaffirms her belief in compassion and the transformative power of kindness. Even in our darkest moments, goodness can prevail, she muses, her gaze drifting to the family photos on the mantel. The news of Eleanor's bravery and her pivotal role in Jason's past spreads rapidly through the neighborhood and beyond. Local news stations pick up the story, and soon, Eleanor finds herself at the center of a community gathering, her story inspiring those around her. As she addresses a group of local residents and media, her voice resonant and clear, she emphasizes forgiveness and the lasting impact of our deeds. We are more than our worst mistakes, she tells the crowd, her words echoing around the room, stirring nods and murmurs of agreement. Eleanor's influence grows, her actions sparking discussions about community safety and the power of redemption. Schools invite her to speak to students, community leaders seek her advice, and she starts a local initiative promoting nonviolence and support for troubled youths. Her living room, once a place for quiet evenings alone, now hosts meetings with community organizers, her mission of change gaining momentum. As the season changes, the community garden Eleanor helped establish blooms under the autumn sun. A plaque at the entrance, dedicated to compassion and community solidarity, bears her name. Eleanor often stops by, Duke always in tow, to tend the flowers or simply sit and watch as neighborhood children play around the benches. Her actions on that dramatic day resonate deeply, turning her once ordinary life into a beacon of hope and resilience. The community, once marred by fear and suspicion, now thrives under the principles Eleanor has always lived by: courage, compassion, and the conviction that everyone deserves a second chance. As the sun sets, painting the sky with streaks of gold and pink, Eleanor and Duke walk home, their shadows long on the pavement. The air is crisp, the streets are peaceful, and Eleanor's heart is full. "We've done well, Duke," she whispers, a contented smile playing on her lips as they step inside, ready to face whatever comes next with the same unwavering spirit. The sun dips below the horizon as Eleanor steps onto the sidewalk, her steps steady and assured. Duke walks proudly by her side, his leash slack in her hand, his ears perked and eyes scanning the familiar neighborhood. But this evening is different. As Eleanor strolls down the path, neighbors join her one by one, a gesture of solidarity that has become a new tradition. A young mother pushing a stroller, an elderly man with his cane, and a teenager walking his own small dog fall into step with her. Their smiles and warm greetings radiate a newfound sense of community. The streets, once shadowed by tension and fear, now hum with a comforting energy. Children play freely in the yards, their laughter echoing in the cool evening air. Eleanor pauses at a corner, her eyes drifting to a new street sign installed after the incident. It reads, "Eleanor's Walk," a tribute from her neighbors to honor her bravery and the strength she inspired in them all. Duke stops briefly, wagging his tail as he's met with pats and kind words from the group. He's no longer just Eleanor's protector, he's become a beloved symbol of loyalty, courage, and the unyielding bond between one woman, her community, and her faithful companion. Eleanor turns to the group, her voice calm yet filled with conviction. "What we faced together wasn't just about me. It was about all of us, about standing up for what's right and building a place where no one feels alone or unsafe. Every small act of courage, every decision to help instead of harm, leaves a mark." She looks down at Duke, who gazes up at her with unwavering loyalty. "Duke taught me that protection isn't just about strength, it's about heart. And this neighborhood, this community has shown me what true solidarity looks like." Eleanor lifts her gaze to the crowd, her voice growing stronger. The lesson here is simple: never underestimate the power of standing together. When we choose to act with courage and compassion, we don't just change our own lives, we change the lives of those around us. If this story inspired you, let it be a reminder: stand up for others, foster unity, and be a force for kindness in your community. And to those who stayed until the end, thank you for being part of this journey. Together, we can make a difference.